All right, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the live stream. Brett James, aka BJ, is finally back. Hopefully, everything's up and running smoothly. The internet was working fine, and then as soon as I wanted to go public with this, started wanting to lag a little bit. So hopefully, everything sounds good. If something's going on, buffering wise or audio wise, I want y'all to let me know so I can go back and fix it if I need to. Hopefully, everything is good. I just want to double check and just make sure that everything is good, though. But thank y'all for coming back in here today, man. It's been a while since I've last done a live stream, man. So I'm super happy to be in here doing this right now with y'all. And I'm going to give some people probably about 5 to 10 minutes to get in here before I start shooting away with questions. So, yeah, I just want to say thank y'all for letting me in. Let me put something in the description real quick. And like I said, I'm going to give some people some time to get in here. And shout out to you, Robert, for being the first one in here, too, man. Appreciate you. Drop me some questions. Drop me questions. But yeah, I'm just gonna give some people some time to get in here, man, because yeah, I'm excited, man. I haven't done a live in a long time, and it's just nice to kind of get the community in here and doing things of that nature too. So, like I said, I'm just gonna give people probably about 5-10 minutes before I start firing away and answering a lot of questions and things of that nature too. But yeah, man, we're here. First live stream in I don't even know how long. It's definitely been a while. Going on. No, it's kind of like a dead point the off season, man. That's why I'm doing this because like there's literally nothing else. Training camp hasn't even officially started. Like just everything. I'm just waiting for any kind of Jags news to get going and everything like that too. Current stream bit rate. Eating me. Hmm. That's odd because at 120. But Jags and Magic. What's up, man? Nah, man. Pure Magic till I die, baby. Born and raised in Jacksonville. Gonna be a Magic fan to the day I die, man. And look, Magic are on the cusp of, starting something great with this young core, and same thing with the Jags, man, too. So look, both my teams are on the come up, man. I'm super excited, bro. You a Magic fan too? I gotta know. But I kind of want to get a poll in here. Let me see. What's a question? What's up, Isaac? What's up, my guy? FL Teams, man. Shout out to FL Teams. Partner and affiliate. I don't know, man. Let's see. Hmm. Will Travis Jags. Yeah, like I said, I'm gonna give people probably another 5 minutes to get in here before I really start answering questions and things of that nature. But make sure y'all go answer the polls too, like doing random stuff like that too. Stop everybody. Man, I'm just so excited for the season, man. This off season where we're part of June and July prior to the preseason, man. It's just difficult. Just not having football like that. Like I don't understand. Just like killing for football to be back. Really, like I'm just waiting for football to just be back soon. It just really can't come where I'm at with it. It's all right, yeah. I'm gonna give people 5 more minutes to get in here before I start firing away and answering some questions, man. One day at a time. Dead. Christian Kirk, over/under 1,000 receiving yards. That's a good question. He had 984 last season, I believe, with the Cardinals, and he was a number 3, behind DeAndre Hopkins and maybe Rondale Moore, possibly. So, man, I don't know. Christian Kirk, that's a tough one to say over 1,000 yards because the Jags have so many different weapons that I think that they're going to utilize. It's going to be more than just Christian Kirk. So I'm going to say under 1,000, but that doesn't mean that he'd have a bad season. That he could still have a good season and have under 1,000 yards receiving, right? Because when you look down the list of Evan Ingram as a weapon, Travis Etienne is going to be heavily utilized. James Robinson will be coming back. Marvin Jones was very productive last season despite a really bad offensive staff in general. On top of the coaching, Dan Arnold returns back from injury. Jamal Agnew. So it's kind of hard to really say any Jags receiver for that matter gets over 1,000 receiving yards, but I'm going to say no. I wouldn't be surprised if Christian Kirk got over 1,000, but I don't anticipate that at all. And then the Hall of Fame games in 6 weeks. I keep forgetting the Jags play the first game of the season. Like, why do the Jags of all teams get to play the first game of the season? I mean, I'm happy. I'm totally cool with that, but man, like, really the first game of the season? I can't believe it. I think we're playing the Raiders too, if memory serves me correctly. I mean, do we? Because, I mean, we also play the AFC. Let me see, the NFL Hall of Fame game. I think we play the Raiders, right? Who do we play? Yeah, that's so weird. Because we play the Raiders in the regular season too, so it's kind of weird that they, even though it's a Hall of Fame game, they're still going to have us playing, the Vegas Raiders at that time too, That's definitely crazy. Going to give people like 2-3 more minutes before we start firing away at a bunch. Man, I hope I get a decent amount of people in here tonight too, though, because I mean, I feel like I said it's the dead point of the season. There's really not much going on, so we can kind of all get in here, just talk predictions, talk what we think's going on, and just really with the future of this team moving forward, man, because there's just a lot that we could possibly. Let me put this stuff in the groups real quick too. Give me 1 second, y'all. Trying to, put this live stream out there for as many people as I can real quick. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Let's see. Yeah, okay. Glad we getting some more people in here too. Like I said, so I can start firing away some questions. Zay or Visca for wide receiver 3? Man, I don't know, bro. Like, so there's two sides of the whole Visca thing. Like, there's people that are like, oh, let's utilize, Laviska Shenault like a Deebo Samuel type role because he's got an athletic ability and a skill set that many receivers in the NFL don't have. Obviously, he's not as fast as a Cordell Patterson or a Deebo Samuel, but Laviska Shenault is definitely a Swiss Army knife in terms of the things that he can do, the way his rack yards are after the catch. He obviously doesn't have the best hands, but that's fixable because that's a mental problem. So I will say Laviska Shenault. I expect a bounce back season from him because he has the potential. Laviska has the upside, and like I said, he's a Swiss Army knife, but it's a mental thing. I need him to catch the ball. That's really where it's at. But utilized in a multitude of different ways in the offense, like he's absolutely capable of, exploding onto the scene too. And I think he's very capable of that. Raiders got 2 Hall of Famers this year, and the Jags got their first Hall of Fame. That makes sense. I didn't even think about the fact that Baselli got in, which obviously shout out to Tony Baselli. I won't even address the comments about what's been going on. So, but shout out to Tony Baselli. I did not even think about that. Yeah, man, glad he's in here. What's up? I want Visca to start, but they just paid Zay, so I think he's starting. I wouldn't say that. I think Zay Jones is more so of a depth guy, and I don't think they were visualizing Zay Jones is going to come in here and be wide receiver number 3. If that's what they expect, then, by all means, that's between the coaching staff and the front office, how they're going to utilize a guy like Zay Jones. Laviska, like I said, obviously did not have the best season last year. We all acknowledge that he's a Swiss Army knife. He's got a skill set that many receivers in this game do not have, but it's a mental block that's going on with Laviska Shenault right now too. But if he's playing up to his potential and what he can be, and the coaching staff properly utilizes him, I don't see why Laviska can't be wide receiver 3. He absolutely has the potential to be a star slot receiver in this game that can be utilized in a multitude of ways. But Zay, I'm not like dissing Zay Jones. I just don't foresee Zay Jones being a 3. You know, he might be. He very well might be. I think Zay Jones is more likely a 4. Then you've got guys like Agnew and Laquan Treadwell, who I really hope stays on the team. Really hope that we don't cut in them. I'm glad that we re-signed him this past year in free agency because of the fact that I think Laquan Treadwell is a big body receiver, and he clearly had a great chemistry and bond with Trevor Lawrence on the field too. But yeah, I know we paid Zay Jones. I believe it was a 3 or $24 million, like you said, and guaranteed, but I think it was $30 million up to incentives. So we'll have to see. I think Zay Jones is a wide receiver 4. I really don't see him being that big of a part on the offense, especially if Laviska plays up to his standard into what Laviska Shenault can play like. But it depends on, like I said, how the coaching staff utilizes him. If he continues to excel in practice like we've been hearing throughout OTAs, we'll have to see how training camp and a little bit of the preseason goes. But Laviska Shenault, I don't want to still say I'm high on, but he has the upside to still just be a very good receiver. So it's tricky, man. It really is. I'm going to end this poll, and I'm going to ask a more intriguing question because that one's pretty bland. Let me ask. I create a poll. There we go. Treadwell is a bust. He should be practice squad. He might be the 6th receiver on the team. He very well could be. And he showed flashes last year on a bad team that he could provide valuable snaps. You know, but look, if Treadwell's practice squad, you know, by all means, fine. But he's still on the roster. I just saw too much out of him for the lack of production that we had in the receiver room that said, okay, we need to keep him, and I'm glad that we did. Yo, what's up, my guy? Brett James BJ back in the building, baby, doing a live stream for y'all, man. So yeah, let me get a poll in here, man, because I gotta ask something interesting. Here, I got a more intriguing question. Here we go. That's a little more difficult. Bro, first slide. That's a good one. There we go. See, that's what I'm saying, man. Treadwell is fine, and he loves being here. And like I said, man, from the time that I went to last year's training camp that they had actually at the stadium, and we all saw the video and the clip of Trevor Lawrence throwing that dot to Laquan Treadwell across the sideline, and Treadwell stretched out and made that ridiculous catch. Like, from that moment on, through all the practices and trainings and OTAs and then throughout the season, I was like, these two have a chemistry and bond together. It's clearly evident on the field. And Laquan Treadwell was probably the 2nd or 3rd best receiver on the team last year. That doesn't say much. But the fact that he really didn't get snaps till the last half of the season, and he started to produce, and he has that kind of chemistry and bond with T-Law on the field, man. Dude, I mean, I'm just not sold on every single one of our receivers, man. Even though we've got depth, I'm happy about that. Laquan Treadwell absolutely deserves to still have a roster spot until proven otherwise, man. I feel like Viska has too much of an upside on start, and I agree. I still believe Laviska Shenault has that absolute upside to him into his game. I can say it a million times. He's a Swiss Army knife. He has a skill set and an ability that many receivers in the NFL don't have. He's not as fast as a Deebo Samuel or Cordell Patterson. He's not even as gifted as one of those guys, but he has a similar trait, and he's got a similar skill set to his game. Like I said, it's just a mental thing with Laviska Shenault. Are you catching the ball? He can keep working on that. I know he's been returning some punts throughout OTAs early on, but Laviska Shenault is, I'm just not going to get too high on him, but I'm not too low on him either. I'm just somewhere right in the middle. Laviska, this is a prove-it year for me. This is absolutely a prove-it year for me. You're better than this. You've got a much better coaching staff. We want to see the improvement that we know you can take, that you didn't show in your sophomore year, but you showed a lot of flashes in your rookie year. Dude's first catch was a clutch first down for 18 yards. You know, was it? I want to see that was versus the Broncos in week 2, actually. I could be completely wrong. Laquan Treadwell's first catch of the season. Let me know in the comments down below. When was Treadwell's first catch of the season, man? I want to say it was in week 2 versus the Broncos. I know we didn't play a whole lot in the beginning of the season because he was so far on the depth chart because we still had guys like DJ Chark out there, and we hadn't had many injuries from Dan Arnold and stuff yet. But no, man, dude, Treadwell, He clearly has got a chemistry and a bond. And he's a big body receiver. How many big body receivers at 27 years, which maybe he's starting to finally find his groove after being a first-round bust with the Vikings after all these years. Maybe he found a home in Jacksonville, and this is where he can contribute and become a solid receiver. Remember the last game of the season against the Colts, and Trevor threw that dime to Treadwell down the field, and he flat out dropped it? That was a very contested ball. That ball was contested, so I'm not trying to hear that. You know, if we're thinking about the same play, maybe I'm thinking of the play down the sideline versus the Patriots in week 16, I want to say, but I could be wrong, man. Trevor missed him on a touchdown in week 6, but it was his first catch was week 10. Was it week 10? Who did we play week 10? I mean, I don't have the schedule pulled up in front of me. I do remember the play in which you're requiring. We finished around 6-11, 7-10. We're guaranteed to get a receiver, you think? No, that's not a guarantee. It really depends on the production that we see out of the receivers this season. Obviously, health matters, knock on wood. But there's a lot more that goes into it than just that, I'd say. Because Doug Peters' offensive philosophy is not predicated on having a wide receiver number 1 or wide receiver number 2. You look at Doug Peterson's time and he's in Jacksonville. Doug Peterson's time in Philadelphia when they were a Super Bowl team and a contender for about 2 to 3 seasons. Alshon Jeffrey, Nelson Aguilar, Zach Ertz, Dallas Goedert, Brent Selleck. Those guys were really leading the receiving room and the tight end room. They didn't have a true wide receiver number 1 on their team. I understand Alshon Jeffrey was a good receiver, but he was still more so of a wide receiver number 2. Doug Peterson's philosophy on offense is much more predicated upon RPO, a bunch of good wide receiver 2s and 3s, and a great tight end room. And the Jaguars have a great tight end room from what it appears like on paper. Luke Farrell, Chris Manhertz, Dan Arnold coming back off injury, and who did we get in free agency? Evan Ingram as well, too. Treadwell is fine. I feel like we'll get Jordan Addison. I have not even looked into the 2023 NFL draft class. Do not ask me any questions about that. That is the least of my concerns. I'll be straight up. Treadwell's first catch was against the Colts the first time we played them. You're right. It was against the Colts when we did play them. You're right. That was week 10 because we just came off that huge victory over the Buffalo Bills the previous week in week 9. That's right. What if Trevor shows exactly what he did last year and we get the number 1 pick again? Do we take a chance on Bryce Young or CJ Stroud? I am not even going to acknowledge that. Mr. Sunshine, Trevor Lawrence. That's what I call him. I'm not even talking quarterbacks. This is our franchise, okay? No, I'm not talking Bryce Young or CJ Stroud. I'm not talking any 2023 draft picks. Jaguar fans, we've become so accustomed and so demoralized that, we always get our hopes up and then we just come crashing back down to reality. Let's not be pessimistic. Okay, let's be optimistic. There's a level of realism and then there's a level of just idiocy when it comes to like, hey, we're going to go undefeated and we're going to win the Super Bowl. Not happening. But then I can also be like, hey, I think that we're winning 8 games this year. I think that we can win 7 to 9 games this year. I think that's a very realistic expectation and goal for the Jaguars. So to talk about the first pick, to show exactly and to talk like Trevor Lawrence is going to be a first round and a first number 1 overall pick bust, I'm not even going to acknowledge that kind of talk. That's just no. No. Evan Ingram should have a big year. Yeah, absolutely he should. And I was just on the Men and Teal podcast just a couple of days ago, a little less than a week ago, man. So shout out to the Men and Teal podcast. And we were talking about Evan Ingram. And he had a hot take. He said that Evan Ingram will go down as the best tight end in Jaguars history because even though he's on a 1-year prove-it deal, I do expect for him to have a great season. I expect for Evan Ingram to bounce back and to also get re-signed at some point. And Evan Ingram has the size. He's got the athleticism. We've seen the flashes in New York. Like I said, it's a mental thing with the drops, but also Evan Ingram has not had the proper quarterback and team around him to flourish. He could possibly have that here in Jacksonville. And the way Doug Peterson uses his tight ends, he's going to have a great season. I know Evan Ingram's going to produce. What games am I going to this year? So I don't have season tickets this year. I'm moving out to Orlando. I'm moving out to UCF in 2 months, so I will be living in Orlando. Of course, I'll still drive back up to Jacksonville for some games. I don't definitively have any tickets to any games this year, but I do expect to at least attend 3 home games this season. That is my goal. That is the goal I'm trying to attain. I want to at least go to the Ravens game. The Cowboys game is too expensive, so no. Probably the Giants game because my buddy's a Giants fan, and I'll probably end up going to like the Colts Week 2 game, the home opener as well too. See Doug Peterson's first home game. So those are the games I'll probably go to at home. I'm trying to fly to Philadelphia. I believe we play them Week 4. I want to say that we play the Eagles week 4. I'm trying to fly to Philadelphia to go see that game, but we'll have to see how all that pans out. Least favorite team that's not in the division, mine is the Jets. I have no reason to hate the Jets. Teams that are bad and their fan bases stick with them, I understand where their pain comes from, so I don't hate the Jets. Probably the Cowboys, just because it's America's team. How about them Cowboys? So probably the Cowboys. I think it's a good chance we start off 2-0. Yeah, we definitely got a favorable schedule starting off at Commanders and then versus the Colts to start off the season. Not sure if we start off 2-0, just because you're still going to have to consider the fact that it's a new coaching staff trying to mesh everyone still together regardless of the talent that we acquired through the draft and free agency. It'll probably take the coaching staff and these players really a couple of weeks to get things ramped up. Through the first 4 to 6 weeks, I can see us starting off 2-4, 3-3. I think that's a realistic goal. Not sure about 2-0, even though I would love to beat the Commanders and the Colts just to start off the year on a good note. Get a leg up early in the division, especially beating a division opponent in Jacksonville yet again in the Indianapolis Colts. But 2-0, it's not far fetched to think that can happen, but we'll see. What's up, Raiden? I think it was Agent K that had said Evan has played himself out of the tight end position, and it was, yeah. Because Evan Ingram's not really a blocking tight end. Has he done it before? Sure, but he's more of a slot, big body tight end mismatch type of tight end. He's a guy who runs, I think, a 4.41 coming out of Ole Miss. When I did my video, if memory serves me correctly, I believe Evan Ingram ran a 4.41. I mean, he's just a physically gifted and athletic tight end. He's a very versatile guy. Just got a great skill set, and he's more of a slot receiver, just a big-bodied matchup because you can't put a linebacker on him. You're going to have to play nickel or dime depending on the set that Doug Peterson and this offense wants to run. But he's going to help create a lot of mismatches for this team, and I'm excited to see what we can do with Evan Ingram. Not Zach Evans, sorry. I want to go to the Colts, Ravens, and the Cowboys game. Yeah, I want to go, like I said, to the Cowboys game because I want to see us beat the Cowboys, but that's just too expensive, man. Whenever a big market team like Dallas or New York travels, it's hard to go to those games, man, because the tickets are so expensive. Even if the Jags are bad, it's just so expensive. Evan Ingram is hands now, good QB or not. Catch the ball when it comes. Okay, for 4 years, that's an inaccurate statement. He's not had a mental block in New York, dropping passes like in a ridiculous high clip of blocks for 4 seasons. This has been a 1 to 2 year thing with Evan Ingram. Obviously, he had a phenomenal start to his career when he had Eli Manning on his last leg. But let's not act like Evan Ingram was put into a situation to succeed in the first place, right? From the horrible coaching that has been placed in New York the last couple of seasons as well, on top of the fact that Daniel Jones is not that guy, on top of the fact that Eli Manning was literally on his last leg, Evan Ingram has a chance to really flourish. And have you not seen the way Doug Peterson utilizes Brent Selleck, Dallas Goedert, and Zach Ertz in the past with his time in Philadelphia? This is a tight end centric type of offense that is going to be heavily prioritizing tight ends and mismatches, and that's exactly what Evan Ingram can. Evan Ingram absolutely has a chance to have a 1,000-yard season. I think if anything, Evan Ingram quite possibly could lead this team in receiving yards, and I don't think that's far-fetched. I think he has a better chance to lead this team in receiving yards than a guy like Christian Kirk or Marvin Jones Jr. No disrespect to those guys. I just feel as if the skill set in which he provides in the mismatches and the way Doug Peterson uses tight ends, Evan Ingram absolutely has a great chance to not only have a bounce-back season, but to get another contract from Jacksonville and to possibly lead this team in receiving. That is not far-fetched at all. Evan Ingram having bad hands his entire 4-year career is an inaccurate. He can, though. What's up, my boy Amac? Tuned in from the pub? Yo, my man really at Publix on his break right now. Shout out to my brother, man. Shout out to my boy Amac, man. Really out here at Publix, getting the grind on, and I think he works deli. I think this man works deli, and he's really out here shouting me out, man. So shout out to my boy Amac, brother. Me and him about to be living it up at UCF, man. Let me I got you, my guy. Evan Ingram dropped passes in his career. Let me look this up year by year because, okay, so he has 25 career drops, right, in which he's led the league among tight ends the first time in 2017. In his rookie season, which was his best season, he had 11, right? And then last year, he had eight drops last year. So I'm not trying to hear that this man can't catch it all, right? Situational. He had a mental block. I'm going to give him that. But quarterback play, coaching, and like I said, situation around him, I'm just, no. Evan Ingram absolutely has a skill set to his game, and he's going to create mismatches at the tight end position. Evan Ingram is absolutely going to flourish on this team, and I really hope that anyone who's talking down on Evan Ingram is going to eat their words, because he's going to prove everyone wrong this season. I really hope y'all know that. Jags fans, like, getting Evan Ingram was such a huge upgrade. I don't think a lot of y'all realize just how much value he's going to provide to this team, especially with Dan Arnold coming back off injury. Yes, sir, I got you, my boy. Deadly boys. We really finna be living it up at UCF, my guy. We tuned in, bro. So, all right, man. Keep firing away with some questions for me, y'all. Let's get it. Let's talk some defense, too, man. I know I've only talked offense, man. I'm telling y'all, man, this defense is going to be top 10. I've been so excited about this defense, y'all. It's not even funny. I think so, too, man. Sir. Like I said, man, y'all, I want to talk anything, man. Anything Jags, bro. So, y'all drop them in the comments, man. Please ask me about this defense, though, because I love talking about this defense. And my boy Jamal Agnew, bro. Who's starting at safety? Oh, that's easy, bro. I'm starting at safety. Coach Mike Caldwell gonna put me at strong safety, bro. I'm gonna be playing the box. So, yeah, so me and Cisco gonna be starting together at safety, man. Cisco run free safety. More likely, he'll be a single high more often than not, and then me, I'll just be down in the box. Really playing like that Mike, strong safety type role, you know. So I'm excited, man. Caldwell's been getting me some good reps out there, man. So secondary's coming along well, man. I'm excited to go in there, get some picks for this team this year. So yeah, me and Cisco gonna hold it down in the secondary and the back end. Most definitely. All right, y'all, come on, keep firing away with the questions, man. I'm eager, man. It's been it's hard to talk Jags football, man, off season, especially when we're at a dead point with not much going. But speaking of that, y'all, like, if y'all have any video topics y'all specifically want me to cover, I can't promise I'll get to it, or I will do it, but I'm definitely open to ideas. One I did a couple weeks ago, someone on Twitter was like, hey, can you do this video? I was like, yeah, sure. I went ahead and I posted it for y'all, man. So if y'all have any video suggestions that y'all want me to see, y'all want me to talk about, to cover, obviously Jags related, just let me know, man, because I'd love to do that, man. Oh, that's dope, man. Rayshawn Jenkins, your neighbor? That's dope, man. That's definitely dope. Total sacks this year by the team. I think I said 43. I believe the Jags had 32 last year, if memory serves me correctly. When I did a prediction video for the defense, when I said that they would be top 10. But I definitely think that 43 is much more of a realistic goal. You got to think the secondary obviously helps the pass rush. Pass rush helps the secondary. Domino effect. They go yin and yang. So the fact that the Jaguars really didn't have much of a pass rush, but also they added a lot more depth to the secondary and, to the front seven, on top of the fact that, Mike Caldwell, Brenston Buckner, the D-line coach, a lot of these guys just are just going to bring a lot more versatility and athleticism to this defense. So I do think that we can get probably, I'd say over 40. I say anywhere from 40 to 45, but I think I said like 42 or 43 was the official prediction I made just a couple of weeks ago when I made that Jaguars defense will have a top 10. Jaguars will have a top 10 defense video. Total sacks this year. Yeah. Who's leading the team in sacks? Josh Allen will. 10.5 sacks. He's going to tie his career and rookie sack total with 10.5 sacks this upcoming season. Who do you got winning the South? I don't have the Jags winning the South, but I can't say that the Colts or the Titans win the South because I don't know. If I had to bet my money on it, I'd say the Colts because I believe Matt Ryan's a better quarterback than Carson Wentz. That's not even a question. And they have a lot more pieces, I believe, like, in order to succeed. I know Mike Vrabel's a great coach, but I'm just not as confident in Ryan Tannehill as I've been in the last couple of seasons. Great regular season player. They obviously lost Freeman this offseason. I know they acquired Robert Woods, but I'm just not that high on the Tennessee Titans. Plus, like, fuck the Titans, right? So I'm going to say the Colts. I do have the Jags winning 8 games this year. That was my prediction officially when I released that video a couple of weeks back, but that's just my thoughts on it. I think this is our best year ever at winning the the mic, our PR depth coach players are all winning every time we talk. You think of a better year. Man, I don't know, man. It's so confusing, though, what to expect from the Jags this season, too, because you've seen turnarounds like, obviously, the Cincinnati Bengals are a prime example just last season of a team really flipping the switch in just one season, and making a Super Bowl appearance. They added a lot more pieces, and obviously they had a premier wide receiver, and they had a Pro Bowl level quarterback and a guy like Joe Burrow. And a lot of Jaguar fans believe that we have that in Trevor Lawrence, aka Mr. Sunshine back there. So if Trevor Lawrence is what Trevor Lawrence can play up and what we expect him to be, if this rest of this coaching staff continues to help develop the game and these players and put these guys in a position to succeed, the Jaguars absolutely can win, like you just said down in the comments, anywhere between 7 to 10 wins this year. Very realistic expectations to put onto their shoulders. I don't have them winning the division, but the Jaguars are going to be a relatively pedestrian, middle of the pack team in the NFL this year, and they're going to be competitive. You're not going to see games where, I should say, you're not going to see many games this year where the Jaguars are going to be done by halftime, where it's halftime and we're all turning the TV off because, like, damn, we're already down 24-3 and it's only halftime. It's not going to be one of these things, and obviously injuries have a lot to do with it too. Who will bring that Yannick effect, strip fumble artist? I think that's gonna have to be a guy like a Chason or a Trayvon Walker, right? I expect Trayvon, honestly, to drop back into coverage significantly more than he does rush the passer, even though I'd love to see him rush the passer with that 4.51 speed. But I don't know. I think it's gonna have to be a Chason, man, or it's gonna have to be a Trayvon Walker, right? I believe when Trayvon rushes the passer, I believe he has the strength and athleticism to be that strip fumble artist. But with the way Chason's now going to be utilized, where he can be used a lot more in open space, which is going to play a lot more to his strengths, he can be utilized a lot more properly. Plus, he's still got the speed and athleticism to excel because he's a very athletic weak side linebacker. And also, teams aren't going to have to, single up on him as much either because he's got a lot more help on the defensive side of the ball. They're not going to have to just key in on him and Josh Allen. He's going to have a lot more space to flourish. Chason's going to have a very solid season. I'm not saying he's going to have an 8-sack season, but he's going to have the best year of his career. That might not be saying much, but Chason, if utilized properly and used a lot more out in open space, instead of just being a 3-technique edge rusher, he's going to be a lot better. More tackles in 2022, Devin Lloyd or Foycade. I said Foycade. Foycade last year obviously led the NFL in tackles, 192. When I made my prediction video a couple of weeks ago, I did predict that Foycade would lead this team in tackles. I said 160 just because of the fact that his numbers will take a dip from last season to this season because Atlanta had one of the worst defenses in football. They really don't have many playmakers on that side of the ball outside of obviously, Grady Jarrett, AJ Terrell, Dante Fowler was on the team last season, and obviously Foycade. But his lack of his production will take a little bit of a hit just strictly off the fact that there's a lot more talent on the Jaguars defense this season. But Foycade, being the veteran Mike linebacker, he will come in and still lead this team in tackles. I'm very confident in saying that. My only worry is that this wide receiver group is the wide receiver group and how long it's going to take for the coaching staff to connect. Actually, I disagree. I think the wide receiver room is actually one of the least of my concerns on the offensive side of the ball. If anything, more so for me, it would be with the offensive line, right? I want to see what the Jaguars are going to do with that starting 5 in the offensive line. Because Trevor has a lot of chemistry with a lot of these receivers already because he played with them last year. From Jamal Agnew, Dan Arnold, Chris Manhertz, Marvin Jones Jr., the list goes on. I understand Zay Jones and Christian Kirk are new pieces and new bodies in there too. But with that offensive line, there's still a lot of speculation, Tyler Shatley be the starting center. Is Ben Barcher or Luke Fortner going to be starting? Who's going to play the left guard position? What are the Jags going to do at right tackle with Jawan Taylor and Walker Little? The offensive line for me is definitely a little bit more of a concern, I would say, in terms of, gelling, meshing, and the chemistry, who's going to be out there. But not so much the wide receiver room for me. The wide receiver room's a lot more improved this season and should take a significant step up. Trevor stat prediction. When I made my Trevor Lawrence video just a couple of weeks ago, I said Trevor Lawrence throws about 3,800 yards, which is relatively what he threw last season. 3,800 yards, 25 touchdowns, and 12 interceptions. That was definitely around the numbers that I threw out there, and I'll explain that in a second. The Jaguars don't need a wide receiver 1 in order to score. It's like, would it be nice to have a wide receiver number 1? Absolutely. But having a bunch of honestly a bunch of wide receiver twos with a great tight end room and a great running back room. The Jags don't need a wide receiver one when I look at, like I said, Doug Peterson and his philosophy and the way he runs his offensive play calls. So that's kind of the least of my concerns. I'm not too worried about the Jags lacking a wide receiver one. But where I got my Trevor Lawrence stat predictions was because last season in his rookie year, Trevor Lawrence was 12 touchdowns, 17 interceptions. It's crazy that I know all these numbers off the top of my head. Shows you how much studying I have to do, y'all. But then I look at Carson Wentz's second season in the NFL prior to him going down with his ACL injury in 2017 when Carson Wentz was 33 touchdowns, 7 interceptions, and I want to say 3,800 yards through the first 11 weeks of the season. And I kind of take those two numbers, I kind of average out between Carson Wentz prior to him going down, leading the NFL in the MVP race prior to his injury, and Trevor Lawrence's rookie season. I kind of go somewhere in the middle with that, on top of the fact that this is not going to be a pass first offense. I believe that this is going to be a run first offense. I think Trevor Lawrence's scrimmage yards has probably over 4,000 yards. 4,200 yards would be very nice. 31 touchdowns. I'd love to see him get over, 30 touchdowns. That would be very nice. And then 10 interceptions. I think we might be lowballing it. I said 12. You said 10. I think anywhere from 10 to 15 interceptions is going to be realistic. He's definitely going to cut back on him this season. I think that there's going to be a lot more opportunities to air it out down the field because we saw a lot of Jaguars receivers drop the ball last season, even when it was in their hand, but in the short and intermediate routes. But I'm not totally sure. I said 25 touchdowns. Robert, you think 23? I think that's fairly realistic too. I did say 25 passing touchdowns. I still think he gets maybe 2-3 rushing touchdowns this season as well too, just because he's still going to be able to use his legs, and he showed a lot of that this year too. But I don't know, man. It's tough with Trevor Lawrence because I really got to see how this offense is going to be utilized. But Trevor Lawrence will obviously have a much better season. I don't think anybody disagrees with that, but we'll see. Finally, a defensive question. I love talking defense. Are you excited for Trayvon Walker? He looks like a beast, and Josh Allen said people are sleeping on him. Yeah, people are sleeping on him. After we drafted him initially, I had some time to really process. I was like, okay, this is our guy. This guy's going to be an athletic freak. He's going to be a stud. This man ran a 4.51. You didn't see the production in college because of Georgia's defense and the way that he was utilized, especially with other guys on the D-line like Jordan Davis, who absolutely was a beast. Trayvon Walker is absolutely being slept on in the NFL community. You don't see a lot of the NFL and just Bleacher Report, CBS, all these big sports networks posting or talking about Trayvon Walker, which is weird because he's the number 1 overall pick, but it's because a lot of people are sleeping on him. And him and Josh Allen, that tandem, and the way Mike Caldwell is going to utilize this 3-4 defense it's going to be awesome to see, because it's not going to be just Josh Allen just getting after the pass rusher. Not just going to be Trayvon Walker and Devin Lloyd just dropping back into coverage. There's going to be a multitude of schemes and different opportunities for players to succeed, whether they are dropping back into coverage, whether they are a 2-3 technique, playing on the inside as a Mike or a Will linebacker. Maybe they're playing on the weak side. Whatever it may be, this defense, from what I've seen from Mike Caldwell in the past, from what I know he can be and the way he's developed linebackers, and from what I've also heard from guys like Trayvon Walker and Josh Allen through a lot of interviews, there's going to be a lot of exciting pieces coming together on this. 31 is realistic. Look at their QBs in their second year in the past. Right, and I'm not saying it's unrealistic. I'd love to see that, but I don't just want to automatically make the jump from 12 touchdowns his rookie season, which he could have had a lot more, from 12 to 31. So let's just say 19-20 difference, right? I do think that it's possible. I just think that 25 is a little bit more of a realistic goal, just because Carson Wentz did have 33 through the first 11 games of the season prior to him going down with that injury. It might have been, no. Carson Wentz was 11-2, so I think it was the first 13 games when Carson Wentz was leading the MVP. Yeah, I don't think he goes from 12 to 31 either. I'd love for Trevor Lawrence to prove me wrong. But if Trevor Lawrence got 25 touchdowns passing through the air while limiting his turnovers, I would be very happy. That last season really got people doubting Trevor Lawrence's talent. They played 17 games. I think he throws an average of 2 touchdowns per game, which put him at 34. It's just hard to say that, because I personally believe that this is going to be a run-first team, right? There's going to be weeks Trevor Lawrence throws 3 touchdowns. There's going to be weeks where he throws 1. There's going to be weeks there's probably going to be like 2 or 3 weeks this year where he doesn't have a single passing touchdown. He's going to either run one in, or the Jaguars are just going to dominate the run game and down in the trenches with Snoop Conner, Travis Etienne, and James Robinson coming back off injury. I wouldn't be surprised if, Trevor Lawrence had 25 to 30 touchdowns, but anything more than that would absolutely catch me by surprise, but I'd love for him to prove me wrong. What is your win-loss record against the AFC South this year? I think we can break even at 3-3. I'd be happy. Yeah, I'd be happy at 3-3. The last time the Jags beat the Texans, I believe, God, this is so sad to say, I think it was in 2017, the last home game of the season when we clinched the playoffs. I was at that game in 2017. I think it was the last time we beat the Texans. I cannot recall the last time that we beat the Titans. It was probably 2019 when Gardner Minshew did it on Thursday Night Football. I was at that game as well. That was Jalen Ramsey's last home game as a Jaguar, if memory serves me correctly. And the last time we beat the Colts was obviously Week 18. But if the Jags can break 3-3, I'd love that for the divisional record. Who gets the most interceptions? I say between those three guys, I'd say Tyson Campbell, because he's probably going to be following the wide receiver number 2. I still say Shaq Griffin would probably be following the 1, depending on if him or Darius Williams goes into the slot. But Andre Sisco will lead this team in interceptions. 2 touchdowns a game is very realistic. I'm not denying that, but I'm saying Trevor Lawrence is not going to throw 2 touchdowns for 17 weeks every single week and accumulate 34 touchdowns, in my opinion. Averaging 2 touchdowns a game is different than weeks 1 through 17. He's going to throw 2 touchdowns. That every single week. That's a completely different conversation. There's weeks Trevor Lawrence will throw 3 touchdowns. There will be weeks he throws 1 touchdown. There's weeks he might not even throw a touchdown. I don't know. That's all speculation. I do not foresee Trevor Lawrence throwing 30 touchdowns this season. I would love for him to prove me wrong. I think this is a run-centric first team. But I don't foresee him getting 30-plus touchdowns. It's realistic, but it's not my realistic goal. That's just where I'm at with it. Just reminiscing of the CBS song coming on and hearing the announcement saying, "Welcome to FedEx Field." Man, I can't wait to hear that. This is another presentation of the NFL on CBS. Yes, I should be broadcasting these. Rayshawn Jenkins had an interview after practice and he said his players were just working hard last year compared to this year. They're working on the mental part of the game. Yeah, absolutely. And it's going to take time, especially when you integrate a lot of more defensive pieces, because my projection for the defense was that there's going to be 7 new starters. Let me see if I can name them off. From Faloranzu Fadukasi to Trayvon Walker to Devin Lloyd to Foyce to Luwakan to Darius Williams. That's 5 new starters. But then Sisco, even though he's on the team last year, he really wasn't starting. So there's Sisco and there's probably another guy in there I'm probably missing, but the Jags are going to probably have 5-6 new starters on this defense this year on top of a new defensive scheme and philosophy. So it's going to take some time for these guys to gel and mesh together, but I would not be surprised to see this defense take a huge step up. I'm telling you, I'm way more confident in this defense than I am the offense. And I'm not talking down in the offense. Don't think that. I'm just saying that I have such a belief in what Mike Caldwell, Brenston Buckner, and the rest of this defensive coaching staff is doing, and the way we address the defense this offseason through free agency and both through the draft. The ceiling is just the beginning. The sky is just the beginning for what this defense can be. I truly believe that by the end of the season, you will see, statistically speaking, this Jaguars defense ranks top 10. I wholeheartedly believe that. I think people are sleeping on Snoop Conner. He also looks like he's been good hands from the practice live footage. Yeah, and I actually saw a video of him today in some of these blocking drills, man. He's definitely a strong running back. He's got the same type of skill set as James Robinson. He's literally James Robinson coming out of Ole Miss. That's exactly what his skill set is, too. Obviously, I have not seen the production from Snoop Conner because he's yet to take an NFL snap. So that's speculation, but I'm saying just the skill set in which he provides and the way his game is predicated, it's very reminiscent of what James Robinson is. And, I mean, he's going to contribute some solid play early in the season, too. I definitely think having a backfield with 3 legit running backs, and especially the way the Jags can utilize Travis Etienne, Snoop Conner will absolutely get his moments to shine. And, we saw it in Philadelphia with Darren Sproles, LeGarrette Blount, Jay Ajayi, and a handful of others. Doug Peterson always has a good backfield there, too. More single high or split safeties? That really depends. I think if Daniel Thomas gets a lot of snaps, too. I think if Daniel Thomas gets a lot of snaps, I think it's going to be a lot more split safeties. I think if Rayshawn Jenkins and Andre Cisco start, which is what I believe, I think it's going to be a lot more single high safety, and we see Rayshawn Jenkins in the box a lot more in the 3-4. That's just my personal belief. Obviously, they'll scheme some things up, but I think that if Cisco and Rayshawn start, I think it's going to be a lot more of just single high safety with Cisco in the back. I like Miles Jack, but he didn't have football awareness. No, he did. He definitely did. I know it's a pretty blunt statement. I understand what you're trying to say. He absolutely did, but when the defensive line is not getting off blocks, and when the linebacking core is relatively weak, and he's got other guys like Joe Schobert and Shaq Quarterman, guys who aren't proven all the way yet, and he really didn't have a lot more help around him because Miles Jack is more of an outside linebacker, not more so of a Mike. Maybe he's a will linebacker. They've just moved him around so much. I kind of don't blame him for all the head coaches and defensive coordinators that we've had. He didn't really have an opportunity to succeed towards the lighter years. But, all of us love Miles Jack. I'm praying for nothing but for the best for him and hope he succeeds up in Pittsburgh. Don't forget about Chad Muma, too. Yeah, man, I'm excited about Muma, too. I'm obviously not as high on him as I am Trayvon and Devin Lloyd. But, I think Muma's going to come in and provide a lot of solid rotational snaps for the Jaguars. And you can never have enough people in the front seven when you talk linebackers and you talk defensive linemen. You always need guys getting after the pass rusher, dropping back in coverage. And when you've got a great linebacking room from what it appears like, at least in terms of depth, I'm excited for Chad Muma. I think it'll take him a lot more time to get up to speed and really get ramped up than it will Devin Lloyd and Trayvon Walker. Especially playing at Montana State, or not Montana State, that was Troy Anderson, playing at Wyoming, excuse me. It'll definitely take him some time, but I'm excited, man. I think Luke Fortner start day one. I'd say more than likely, yes. It's just tricky with the offensive line, seeing that situation. Like I said, what are the Jaguars going to do at left guard? Are we going to start Ben Barch? Are we going to possibly start Tyler Shatley? Obviously, we know Brandon Scherf will start at right guard, but left tackle is going to be secure with Cam Robinson. What are the Jags going to do at right tackle with both Walker Little and Jawan Taylor? The left guard and the center position is definitely up for grabs. Absolutely. Special teams will be very good this year with players like Wingard, Muma, Ford being pushed down the depth chart and primarily being special teams. Yeah, absolutely, man. Rudy Ford showed a lot of flashes last season, not just on special teams, but even on defense in these packages. Daniel Thomas was proven to be a great, and Andrew Wingard too. And Chad Muma will get a lot of special team snaps. The special team is going to have a big upgrade, especially if, Jamal Agnew comes back at 100% because I love Jamal Agnew. Me and all my homies, we love Jamal Agnew. Special team is going to be proved to be very vital this season. The Jaguars, what end up kicking them in the butt, no pun intended, is going to be their kicker position. I need to see that the Jaguars have consistency at the kicker position. Jaguars, Matthew Wright got off to a slow start, but he finished off 21 of 25. I know he missed a lot of extra points, but he made all of his deep field goals, it felt like, consistently. And obviously, Jaguar fans will forever love him for ending the losing streak. I need to see what the Jaguars are going to do with the kicking position come week one. Because I saw that once we cut Matthew Wright, we signed a guy who was kicking, footballs like 70 yards out in these videos. And I'm like, all right, that's cool and that's great. And I love that you've got a leg, but the Jaguars kicking is really what is intimidating me right now. Because, dude, you can win and lose 5 games a season just off having a consistent kicker. If you don't have a kicker, that can be your end-all, be-all for a season. And it could end up being pivotal as to you winning a lot of games and making the playoffs. Doug rotates 6 backs in Philly. I'd like to see Laviska in the backfield sometime. Yeah, Laviska was definitely in the backfield in his rookie season. Does great in the checkdowns, breaking tackles. Yeah, and Doug does like fresh legs. Like I said, Doug used a lot of different running backs, different ways from what's the Wood? Man, I can't think of his name right now too. When Doug Peterson was there too, but like I said, Jay Ajayi, LeGarrette Blunt, Darren Sproles, and Woodhead. I can't think of his name right now. Just falling off the top of my head. But yeah, I mean, absolutely having a good running back tandem and trio is going to be pivotal. I mean, Jags saw when we had Chris Ivory and Leonard Fournette. Just how great our backfield was and how special it can be, even though this Jags backfield is a much different skill set than those times. I think it's going to be Cam, Ben Barch, Luke Fortner, Brandon, and Walker Little. Yeah, I think that's a realistic goal. That's probably who I would have starting in the backfield. down in the trenches. I was talking about the running. That's probably, yes, Smallwood. I said Smallhead. Pause. Smallwood. Thank you. You guys knew exactly who I was referring to. That's his name. I definitely think down in the trenches, that's probably the most realistic goal. Ben Barch heading into his third season. And he's gotten a lot better from everything I've heard too. But Robinson and Etienne, new Kamara and Ingram 2.0. Yep, and that's exactly the words out of my mouth. And I'm glad you said that, because from the moment we drafted Travis Etienne, and there was a lot of speculation, did we reach for a running back? He's not just a running back. And also the fact is, we took a running back in the first round, or, the Jags don't need this. Jags have other positional values that they need to address. I was like, no, this is a great pick. He obviously has chemistry and continuity with Trevor Lawrence. He has a different skill set and a dynamic skill set that he can bring to an offense. It's thunder and lightning, because Travis Etienne has that home run speed and ability to take it to the house, and he's got agility and, like I said, that familiarity with a guy like Trevor Lawrence. But when you look at a guy like James Robinson, he's more of a downhill runner who's just a bruiser, and he can obviously catch out of the backfield as well too. You're not going to line him up out wide. But the thing is with James Robinson, he's limited in the fact that James Robinson's not going to take it to the house. He's not going to take it 75 yards to the house. Someone's going to catch up to him and get to his speed. But ETN brings that kind of dynamic ability to an offense. And like I said, when we drafted him, I said, look at all the great running back tandems that we've seen in the past, from Alvin Kamara and Mark Ingram, from Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon now up in Green Bay, or Aaron Jones and Jamal Williams at one point. Look at the Ravens. Look at how many terrific running backs that they've had, that they've utilized Man, I'm losing my mind with the Baltimore Ravens right now. Obviously, they had Le'Veon Bell for an extended period of time. Man, I'm losing my mind. Kareem Hunt and who's up in Cleveland? Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt. Just look at the plethora of great running back tandems that are on in the NFL right now. And obviously, Ezekiel Elliott and Pollard is another good one too. Zeke's falling off. What if Kadarius Toney Fellows at 25? Then he'd be a Jaguar. I think Urban Meyer already came out and said that Kadarius Toney would have been a Jaguar. So, yeah, but I mean, I would have rather had Travis Etienne than Kadarius. Even though I was high on Kadarius coming out of Florida, and I'm a big Gator fan, I would have preferred to have Travis Etienne strictly off the fact that I think that having a guy who has familiarity and continuity and chemistry with Trevor Lawrence already helps that case. But also, you can utilize Travis Etienne as a running back, because that's what he is. But also, you can utilize him in the same type of role in the slot and out wide, the way you would use a Kadarius Toney, maybe even in wildcat formation too. So I would have already preferred to have gotten Travis Etienne. Kadarius Toney was there at 25, then we're not talking about Travis Etienne. Kadarius Toney's a Jaguar. What are you most excited about the Jaguars this season under Doug Peterson? There's a chance that we can make the playoffs, and we have talent, but we just need these players, put them in the best position to win. Yeah, Doug Peterson has stated that from the time he's gotten here to now. Doug Peterson said it takes every player, every coach, then to a group, then to as an offense or as a defense, and then all three phases of the game to individually get these guys playing their best, playing at the highest level in order to succeed. I still have the Jaguars winning 8 games. That's if we stay healthy. The Jaguars got hit hard last season with injury bug. Knock on wood that doesn't happen again. But no, the Jaguars absolutely can make a playoff push in the wild card. For that last wild card spot in the AFC this year. Even though the AFC is stacked, the Jaguars will be competitive this season. Like I said, barring injury, knock on wood. But the player I'm most excited about to watch this season is Travis Etienne. If you guys have been following me on the channel for a while, which I assume y'all have, and thank you guys so much for that. Man, I've stand Travis Etienne. Let me just be honest. Like, I am so unbelievably high on this guy, and I cannot wait to see what he does. Prove all the haters wrong, and Travis Etienne truly is a dynamic playmaker who's going to be able to be utilized in a multitude of ways, and I am so excited to watch Travis Etienne. Obviously, I'm excited to watch what Shaq Griffin, Tyson Campbell, and Trayvon Walker and Josh Allen and this defense does, and I'm excited to watch what Trevor Lawrence, a.k.a. Mr. Sunshine back there, does too, but man, I'm super excited to watch Travis Etienne. He's going to have 1,000+ scrimmage yards this season. Confident in it. But yeah, I'm going to answer like 2 more questions, then I'm probably going to get out of here, y'all. I just wanted to get on this live stream for just about an hour. Also, while I have y'all here, I want to say thank y'all so much for continuously supporting me, man, and not only just getting in here today, but just constantly supporting the Jags content and all the content that I do on YouTube as well, man. Make sure y'all drop me a like if y'all can, if y'all haven't already. And make sure y'all go follow me on my socials. The links are in the description down below for the link tree. You guys can also go check out my podcast that I do every single week with my co-host Darian Chill Takes, where we talk NFL, NBA, and some Jaguars on there too. But let me see. The only way we make the playoffs is if we win the South. The AFC is definitely too good. Like I said, I don't have the Jaguars making the playoffs. I think that we're just a competitive team that's going to be in the hunt for a wild card position in the last couple of weeks of the season. To where the point it's like, where the last 4 weeks of the season is, there's no mathematical way the Jags can't make the playoffs. The Jaguars will still be fighting for playoff contention, even though I do have us missing the playoffs. Our screen game is going to be off the chain. Used to watch Love with Westbrook and Charles in this. Yeah, man, absolutely. And, having... I had to sneeze real quick. Excuse me. Having Laviska Shenault, who can use these rack yards to his advantage, having speedsters like Travis Etienne, and probably even utilizing a guy like Christian Kirk too in the screen game, like that's gonna open up a lot of different things too, and I do think that that's gonna help us. I think Laviska Shenault will play good this season. He better. He's got such a high ceiling, and like I said earlier, if you're just now joining, he's a Swiss Army knife. He's got a skill set that many receivers in the NFL don't have. He's got a similar skill set to a Cordell Patterson and a Deebo Samuel. Is he as talented and proven as those guys? Absolutely not. Is he as fast as those guys? Absolutely not. But he's got the body of work and the skill set that fits that kind of mold to where you can utilize him like that. It's just a mental block with these drops. Laviska Shenault, a very good and talented receiver. And hopefully another year of playing with Trevor Lawrence can get him over that hump. Kevin Austin. I think he's a practice squad guy. I understand a lot of Jaguar fans were high on him coming out of Notre Dame as an undrafted free agent to the team. But I don't see Kevin Austin making this roster. I got to see preseason. And even then, the chances of him being a 6th receiver, maybe 7th receiver, is still slim to none. I do think he's a practice squad guy. I don't believe Kevin Austin makes the roster, but hell, for all I know, he could turn out to be Allen Hurns. Imagine if we trade for a guy like DK Metcalf or Terry McLaurin. Man, I would prefer to get a scary Terry. I think he's proven more with a bad quarterback play, even though the Jags don't have a bad quarterback. DK Metcalf, I think, became too much of a diva. He obviously provides more as a true wide receiver number 1, but DK Metcalf, I'm not sure if I really want to pay him, but I don't think the Jaguars are in desperate need of trading for a number 1. I hate that nobody has any respect for the Jags, like NFL media and NFL. Like, it makes me and like us showing what like everyone thinks we. Yeah, no, absolutely, and yes, I do believe Laquan Treadwell over Kevin Austin. I don't think that's much of a debate, unless Kevin Austin, like I said, just somehow burst onto the scene out of nowhere. Yeah, and Tiger Talk. That's one of the big reasons why 13 months ago I started making Jags content on YouTube, man, because Jaguars are not represented well in the NFL community. They're not represented well nationally in the media. In local coverage, I'm just going to be honest, this is just my personal opinion. The reason I started doing it also is because local coverage here in Jacksonville is still not that great. It's really not. When you listen to 1010XL, when you watch some of their videos, or just the lackadaisical, content that they provide. I'm not talking about 1010XL and the journalists and the reporters and the broadcasters that actually go to the facility and they're watching these guys every day. I'm not one of those. I'm not a credentialed media member to work for the Jaguars. I'm just saying strictly off national coverage, local coverage, and the content that the local media provides, I don't think is as good as my content. And I do think that what I provide is a very well diverse and deep analysis content that can bring a community together. And I love that y'all support me, man. I don't think I'm the best by any stretch of the imagination. I'm not trying to be the best. I'm just trying to do something that I love and that y'all love, seeing the passion that I have for the Jags. And I do think that I provide better Jags content than what the national media and most of the local media provides, man. And that's just my personal opinion on it. And it's a big reason as to why I wanted to, because when I see the Jaguars misrepresented as a city, as an organization, and our fan base doesn't get the respect that we deserve, I have a problem with that. And that's why I enjoy and I love making Jags content. And I love that when I'm out in public, y'all come and say what's up to me, whether I'm at the gym, whether I'm at Walmart, I'm grocery shopping, whether I'm at the stadium, no matter where it's at, y'all always show me love, man. And I just say thank y'all so much for that, man. And yeah, man, I just love that y'all support me, man. yeah, like I truly do. So thank you all so much from the bottom of my heart, man. I will never stop saying that. You know, like I said, it's not being arrogant. It's not me being egotistical. I don't think I'm the best. I'm not trying to be the best, this and that. I just think that I provide great content, and I want to bring a community of Jaguar fans together to enjoy something, because the local media and the national media does not represent us very well. And thank you for that. They are very vanilla, or they're very misinformed. Plus, I also feel like the actual content I actually provide on screen is very high quality, but that's just I'm a Jags fan from Australia. Have you heard of Australian football? Yes, I have heard of Australian football, and that's really dope, man. A Jags fan from Australia, man. That's love, bro. I couldn't imagine, never living in the United States of America and being a Jags fan, or really even being a fan of football, man. I've grown up here, born and raised in Jacksonville, Florida, rooting for my Jags my entire life. So it's definitely been, you know, easy for me to root for the Jags because I'm born and raised here. Trayvon is already on another team. Yeah, I know you're referring to Kevin Austin, not Trayvon Austin. Trayvon's on the Bills. No, Brent Martineau's a great guy. I've met Brent Martineau so many times. I just saw him literally last week at UNF. Was talking to him there. I've done a lot of work covering UNF basketball games, and Brent Martineau's been there. Done a lot of work independently around the Jags. I've seen Brent Martineau there. I've seen Brent Martineau in town. I literally ran into him at Wawa once here in town. Just a lot of different things. Brent Martineau's a great guy. I even hung out with him at a bar in Houston when I was out in Houston week 1. He's a great guy. But I'm going to be getting up and out of here, man. I want to thank y'all again so much for sticking around throughout the whole live stream and just constantly supporting me, man. Always going to be making great Jags content. Make sure y'all go follow me on my socials, and especially on Twitter. The link tree's in the description down below. And if you guys could, just drop me a like. And also on Twitter, man, y'all got to let me know what Jags videos and topics y'all want to see for the month, the end of June and July, man, because there's so much topics I could talk about. And yeah, there's just really not much going on right now. So video suggestions that y'all got, just make sure y'all hit me up on Twitter or let me know on YouTube, man. I'm definitely all ears, and I'd love to make some great content for y'all again. Brett James, aka BJ, I'm out, y'all. Go Jags, baby. Peace.